My name is Praveen. First of all, thank you so much for registering for this demo webinar series, and also for being a part of it, for taking the time to be a part of this, right? So today we are going to look into a product called as Data Security Plus within ManageEngine. And before we dive into the core agenda, it would be great if you guys can take a couple of seconds, use the chat option. Let me know if you can hear me better, and if you can see my screen better, so we can start with confidence. Awesome, great. Thanks much, guys. Thanks a lot. So, as we discussed, we're going to talk about a tool called as ManageEngine DataSecurity Plus. So, the tool is all about data leak prevention, right? So, it's a DLP software. The software falls into the DLP sector. So what it does is, it takes care of your Windows file server environment, right? So talking about data leak prevention, like why would we have to monitor what's happening to our data? Because that is the most critical thing which we have inside our domain, right? So we have to track every single thing, who is touching a file over there, who is copying them, who is, if any data exfiltration happens, you need to be notified at the time when it's happening over there. On top of all that, you need to have a neat understanding, right? How your data is available on those servers. What is the structure? What kind of data is available on those servers? Are they important or are they non-business files over there? So you have to understand which, let's say you have like some 10 TB worth of data over there. I might have like, a couple of IUSA files, which can contribute to 100 gigs over there, right? So the point is understanding what data you have within your environment, right? So classify that, which is important, which is not important, which is non-business. So all these, so once you classify them, that's when you start to track the changes happening to them, because that's what the whole point of data leak prevention is all about, right? So tracking the changes of what's happening to them, and then you can understand when someone moves them out of the domain or moves them onto another computer, or takes them with it, takes the data with them through a flash drive with them, right? So that's what data leak prevention is all about. The concept is huge over there, but again, the product is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do is, we're going to take the next like 20 to 25 minutes tops. We're going to discuss about the features, what we have inside the tool. I'm just going to show you how the tool looks like, the UI, the options, and all this stuff. And then we're going to open the floor for questions. I'm going to stay on mute. I'm going to let you guys talk. I'm just going to let you guys ask your questions on the Q&A option, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you, right? So about the logistics, the session will be recorded, and by the end of the day, at the end of the week, or in a couple of days' time, my team will be sending you the recording and the slide deck over the email, over the registered email. Okay. So with no further ado, let's get right into the session. So this is what Data Security Plus is all about, right? So we, it's a clearly, data visibility and security solution. So we have multiple components over there, multiple modules over there, as we discussed, file auditing, understanding if anybody touches your file, moves something, the changes happening on your file servers over there. That's pretty much what file auditing is all about. So file analysis, right? So understanding how your file looks like over there, right? So you can optimize the storage and understand, junk files, all those options over there. So once you're done with that, the main point is understanding of what are all the files that are in your domain that is holding critical information. Let's say, you comply to PCI DSS, you can understand, if anybody is having health card, let's say, customers information, health card information, HIPAA, whatever it might be. So understanding where the critical information is stored inside the file servers, inside the domain. That's data risk assessment. And then comes the data leak prevention, tracking the data that is being taken out of the domain, either by, let's say, through an Outlook client, or through, your thumb drive, or, it might be a local printer connected to the USB drive over there. So that's what data leak prevention is all about, right? And Surur Rahmat, thank you for that question. That's beautiful. So AD Audit Plus also has, we have another tool called as ManageEngine AD Audit Plus, for the people who do not know that. So that also has a component called as file auditing. Yes, you're correct, sir. But again, it does just the file auditing piece over there. The one component of Data Security Plus, just the auditing. It'll tell you only about the changes happening over there. But if you're looking in for a more proactive solution, which can get you more info on your file system, that's what Data Security Plus is all about. right? So I believe I answered the question for you. And if you have any further questions, you can put them through on the Q&A option, guys. Please go ahead. Right. So as we discussed, let's get started with the first piece of the software. It's file auditing, right? So the point is, you can just configure all the Windows file server inside the domain. You can just, click on Add Server, configure the servers over there, discover all the shared folders available or local folders and everything. So you can pretty much audit anything within a particular file server over there. So once you have configured it, we have multiple options, multiple features what you can get from the file audit, right? So the number one is you get a neat dashboard. So you can either go with, a global overview about all these servers available inside your domain, or you can go with the server overview. So you can understand about each and every server, what kind of activities are happening on them, a neat, clean dashboard. So you don't have to sit inside the reports and see what's happening. You don't have to click on multiple tabs over there. All of them in one beautiful dashboard. That's the whole point of dashboards all about over here. So when getting into the in-depth reports over there, number one is access audit. So as we discussed, the main point is you will have to understand who is touching what file, who is copying them, deleting them, all those options, right? Because we have seen multiple things. Let's take a simple example. We are not going to discuss about, let's say, let's refrain from discussing about the attacks happening or like data exfiltration and all of them, right? Let's say, for example, someone works for the finance team over there. So when your help team logs in, they get a call stating like, there was a file with a payroll, let's say a payroll file that was there, when they logged on yesterday at 5 p.m. and right now it's just not available. So just think about it. Like, you might have multiple servers, you could have DFS replications over there. So you will need to find out what exactly happened to that particular file. Like, someone could have just moved it, renamed it, or just deleted it. These are the three major things what could have happened to that particular file over there, right? So that's the whole point. You just don't have to go through the event logs, tons and tons of event logs over there, and just find out what exactly happened. So that's the whole point. You can just go to the all file folder changes over here. You can just search for that particular file name, and instantly you can understand what happened to that particular file. Was it renamed? Was it moved? Or was it, just deleted over there? You can find the person who was responsible for it. All those information. So you have mostly every single column that is available on, all the information, whatever you might want. Every single thing is available over here, but you can just filter, you can just restrict the columns on, based on your requirement over there. That's where the all file folder changes. Likewise, if you can see over here, files and folders getting created, renamed, moved, deleted, over the files over there. Every single thing. Let's say I belong to the IT team over there, right? So I try and access something on the finance folder. So I shouldn't have done that. But again, I would be denied because I would not be having permissions on those folders. That's all fine. But again, I shouldn't have done that on the first time, right? So tracking the failed events happening on your domain is equally critical. When like you're tracking the successful event that happened in your domain. So you can capture all those, all the failed attempts, me trying to access something for which I do not have access, me trying to edit something for which I do not have access to. If I just have read permission, I try to delete something or edit something over there, all those will be captured over here. Because if you let me go today, I will find an option to gain access to that particular file someday, and I will make sure it happens over there, right? So just holding me accountable right at the point when I make the first anomalous event over there. That's the whole point, right? So that's what the file auditing, the access auditing piece within the file auditing will be helping you, right? It's a small thing, but again, it'll give you a great understanding about what's happening on your file servers, because a file server is one of the most noisiest things in your entire domain, right? So that's the one place where even where the security log will get replicated, will get overwritten very frequently, because that's the most noisiest machine on your entire domain, right? So if the software can give you a neat understanding of what's happening on that server instantaneously, that'll be awesome. So that's what the access audit does. But again, so access audit is great. So you can understand everything in real time, right? So we just do not stop over there, right? So all these data, whatever we are collecting from your servers, just sits idle inside the database, right? So whenever you click on the report, let's say files deleted or files copied, whatever you want, the product just gets you that info, the report. That's all the product does over there. That's awesome, but that's all it does. But what do we do is, we just correlate all the information, whatever we collected, and then we give you much more information on access analysis. For example, we capture all the file read in your domain, right? With that, if we correlate, we can understand which is the most accessed file in the domain, right? So you can understand which is the most accessed file in the domain, which is the most modified file. Let's say who is the most hyperactive account in the domain. Let's say user-based report, user report, all events. Let's say Praveen, he had just made like some 700,000 events in the past 1 month. Let's say in a week on the server. That's humanly impossible, right? So you can just go ahead. Let's say in the past 24 hours, just today, this AD manager service account has made like 32,138 in 28 events over there, right? It looks like it's humanly impossible, right? So something else is happening with it. Might be DFS or some application. It could be a batch file, script, something, right? Let's say Harry, and again, it's a normal user account, but he has touched it like 4K times over there, right? Some activity 4K times. So there is something anomalous happening on that user account over there, right? So this is what the product does for you. For example, Harry has created 275 files over there. He has deleted 396. He has modified 231. He has renamed 210. He has changed the ACLs for the files and folders. 1,300 times, close to 1,400 times over there. That's not correct, right? So you can just click on that hyperlink. The product will take you right into that report. So you can drill down, understand what exactly happened. You can hold people accountable, or it's just not about holding people accountable. You can understand that something wrong is happening over there, and before it becomes a successful attack, you know what exactly you got to do over there. Right. So that's the whole point of the access analysis is all about. If you look here, like you will understand the aggregate report, the combination, the collation of all the access, whatever we spoke about, and you will get the user-based report, host-based report, share-based reports, location-based reports. That's what access analysis is all about. So undefined audit, access audit tells you what's happening on your server in real time, whenever any change happens over there. And access analysis correlates all this information and gives you much broader information that view inside your domain. You will get to know the hyperactive guy, user-based reports, share-based reports, server-based reports, global aggregate reports, all those options, right? So that's what pretty much with access audit and access analysis is all about. The next one is alerting. So when talking about all this, right? So you cannot just glue your eyes into the report. That you cannot just blow this product up a lock screen. Keep looking at it all the time, right? So the point is alerts, right? So when something wrong happens or when something important happens in the domain, you have to get a notification from the product, so you can just go ahead, barge in, see what's exactly happening. Right? So that's the best part over there, right? So you can create alert profiles, whatever it might be, whatever your requirement might be, right? So you can just throw in an alert profile to let you know whenever something gets deleted inside a finance folder. Let's say, for example, that could be pretty much very critical for you, right? So you can understand about it. Or let's say whenever someone accesses some file or folder, or just does any modification, but if that user belongs to the domain admins group, notify me. So the creating alert profiles is completely your requirement over there, like your imagination. So you can build whatever you want. But on top of that, let's say, for example, like we when coming to a file auditing solution, ransomware is the talk of the town today, right? Even though it started like a few years ago, it's still happening. So we all still keen about ransomware, right? So we have got like multiple extensions. We have tons of extensions configured inside the tool already. But again, what it can do is, let's say, 5 or 10 files being modified within the so and so time, let's say 60 seconds over there, the product can send you a notification. At the same time, it can call script files over there, which can disable an active directory account, from where that particular file modification is coming from, who is responsible for it, or it can shut down a computer from where these file modifications are originating from. So which will actually make sure the ransomware stops over there. Or what it can do is, let's say, if it just goes out of your hand, let's say 20 times within a minute, you can just detach the entire file server from your network. So scripting is completely your imagination. You can build scripts, and you can just get it done over here. We have given you the options, but again, we have some basic batch files like disabling AD account, blocking the USB port on a computer. So we just have some basic batch files over there, which we can help you if you have interest. You can just let us know, and we'll be more than happy to help you with that. Right, so that's all with the pretty much with the 5 audit techniques. The first and the basic thing of the product, right? So this is what a traditional file auditing software will do, and we're done with that. So now we are moving on to the next one, then that will be file analysis, right? So we have under file audit, we saw about access audits and access analysis, and now we're looking into file analysis. So the whole point is, understanding, as I told you guys, right? So detect file security vulnerabilities and optimize storage by discarding junk files, right? So it's just not that. You can just get a great insight of how your servers look like, right? Because you guys will be having, servers with TVs of terabytes of disk space over there, and tons of teams will be using them, utilizing the space over there, right? So you'll just have to have an understanding of how your servers look like, because that's the big point, right? That's the main thing. How your servers look like, what's the tree structure, how many folders they have there, like how many of those folders have all have open access to all users in our domain, and how many files are available in each and every server, are they duplicate files, all these questions, right? So these might think like you might think like these are great questions, you might have to build great reports to get these answers, but it's pretty simple, like pretty simple. If you look here, you just have your domain name over here, right? So when you expand your domain name, you will understand, you will just get the list of servers available that you have configured inside the domain. Expand these servers, you will get the volumes over there. Expand the volumes, you will get the folders available in that particular volume, right? So let's say, for example, just click on the program files over there, and you will understand, like the storage. So the product will get you, the overview, storage overview, and the security overview. You will understand how many files are there available within that particular domain, within that particular folder over there. How many of them are junk files, and how many, what kind of file distribution we have there. And you can also get the security view. You can understand, like the permissions in play for that particular folder. If you want to drill down further, you can just just expand that particular folder over there. And even if you have let's say an INF file, right? So it's a file level, so you can drill down to the file level over there, and you can understand how many what's the space of that particular file, who is the owner, is that particular file hidden over there, is that a non-business file, is that a duplicate file, when was it last modified, all these metadata information over there, right? So that's the best part, right? So you can drill down right from your domain level to servers, to volume level, to folders, until file levels over there, and then you can understand the storage info and the security information as well. So you can understand like what kind of DACLs, that are the permissions are in play for that particular file as well over there. So that's pretty much with the first page of the file analysis. And I just got a beautiful question from Michael. Yes, sir. So this one, yes, to talk to the file servers, we got to install an agent, right? So you have to deploy an agent. So the agent listens to the changes happening over there, and it just projects the data back to the product on the HTTP portal, right? So yes, so to put it simply, yes, it does require an agent to be installed on your machine, so in internet. Right? Great. So that's the overview. What have I showed you right now is just the overview, so you can get a neat understanding of what's how your servers look like, how many folders you have, how many files are there within those folders, what's the space being utilized over there, what are the security and the permissions in play, all these options, right? So it'll help you to a great extent. But just not that, right? So you need to have more in-depth understanding of whatever we spoke all this time, right? So that's where the reporting structure will come into play, right? Let's say let's just minimize all of them. Let's just talk about a few important things over there, right? So storage options. So the main point is, as we discussed, we might be having terabytes of data, terabytes of space available, but that doesn't mean like you just have to have stale files, for hundreds of gigs over there, right? So finding the files which were not being used for, let's say, 1 or 2 years down the line. So that will optimize the storage for you, right? So number one is you can get the list of files that is available on a particular server. Okay, so you can go choose the servers available in your domain and get the report for the servers, right? So you can understand how many files are there available on your domain. You can understand the old files over there. Let's say you want to find out the files that are in that particular server, which are older than, let's say, 365 days. Pretty simple, like 1 year. So I'm just punching in the numbers over there. Hit go. It's going to bring you the report, like when were they created. Let's say, for example, like August 18th. So it brings all this info. Right? Today's 18th exactly. So it gets you the info. The files that are older than, let's say, 365 days over there. For example, this guy was created on 2001, right? It's huge, I was doing mycology. It's great. So that's the old files is all about. But again, that's not a main concern, right? So files might be how much of an old, but are we using the file? That's the whole point, right? So stale files, finding the stale files is the big thing, because they don't have to to just hold the storage on your server. So what it can do is, let's say the same one, I'm punching in 365, hit go. So it means, the file was last modified, you can just get that report over there. For example, this file wasn't modified after 2003 and it's still available. Right, it doesn't even have a file owner over there. The guy could have, even left the office over there, right? So the SID is not, resolving it. So the guy shouldn't be, inside the office. He should have been on the tombstone and got out of the Active Directory itself. So this is the main point. Like, this is a test environment. So all these files will be giving you, a small data storage over there. But imagine, like, you have like hundreds of thousands of files in the domain, which were not modified in the past 365 days over there. And you can just understand, right? So you can optimize them. You can find the file owner, drop them an email, see if they still want the file, or you can just delete them, optimize the storage over there, right? You can understand the duplicate files, unmodified files, large files, hidden files, non-business files. So you have, we have pretty much, configuration options over here where you can go ahead and punch in, what extensions you think are non-business. And I just found I believe Surur asked me a question. So we have certain categories to identify the junk files over there, and if you want to input the data, you can also input over there, right? So likewise, for example, files with no extensions, you can just go ahead and track them. Files that are getting created with no extensions over there, right? So file ownership summary, you can get a neat understanding of the ownership changes for a particular file over there. All these options, right? So that's what storage report is on, right? Even though it will definitely help you at times, many times, right? So then comes the security report, right? So as we discussed, finding the files with open access to the entire domain is one of the most critical options over there, right? So that the product can get you. It can tell you like who is the file owner and like whatever file that has open access to everybody, and you can understand the files which has full control, like just given full control for people over there, and you can just understand consistent permissions, from the parent folder to the child folder, so you can get all of that. So inactive user report is, let's say for example, right? So I left the I just leave the company today, so my AD account is going to get into or let's say, for example, I'm not logging in for the next 90 days over there, right? And if I still have some files, within my file server, the product will get you the info. So we talk to the Active Directory, we read the last, log on attribute for every single user object over there. And if any of those user objects, which we think is stale, well, let's say who hasn't logged in for the past 90 days, and if he holds any data inside the product, inside the server, we will report that into the files of stale users over there. Likewise, files of disabled users. Likewise, files of expired users. So we talk to your Active Directory every single day, every day in the morning, and you will be, we will be correlating information, and you will get this report, for the inactive users report over there. And the next one is on-demand report, right? So this is one of the, so I'm pretty sure this thing you guys will definitely use. This is one of the important things that everybody will want to use when coming to a file auditing software, right? Because not just auditing what's happening, what's changing. That's not the point, right? Understanding who has what permission to what folder is the big thing, right? So that's what these on-demand reports get you. For example, the effective permissions. Great. So effective permissions, you can just go ahead, select the server. You can just select the folders only, files, files and folders. You can choose, what type you want to monitor. And let's say, you can just choose a particular guy or a group or an OU, or the well-known SID, right? So, and you can just choose the article. Let's say you just want to find out, what level of access Praveen has on the finance folders. You have two variables over here, right? You want to find out what access this particular user object has on that particular, shared folder, right? So you can select both of them, and you can just drill down to any sublevel, 1, 2, all no, right? So all these options, hit generate, right? So once it's done, the product is going to get you a neat report of what level of access Praveen has on that particular folder that you have just selected. That's the effective permissions, right? But again, that will not be, that's one view which you will be using at times. But again, the main thing which you will be looking into is this one, right? So you would want a neat report with a list of users and, the level of access, what they have on a particular folder, right? So that's what, privileged user report is all about, right? So you can go ahead, choose any control because you want the entire list and the level of access what they have. So you can choose any control. Again, the same thing. Just pull up the particular chat folder, hit generate report. Once done, the product is going to get you the list of user objects and what level of access they have on that particular folder, that particular chat folder or local folder, whatever it might be, right? So this will help you to understand, what's happening, how your data looks like. We will just go through a revamp shortly. The next one is, often finds, right? So this is what I was talking about earlier. Let's say I quit the company. My AD account gets inside the tombstone, and and again, I just vanish, right? So now when you just go ahead, search for the file owner name over there, you will not be seeing my username, right? You will be seeing my SID. The product will not be able to resolve the security undefined, right? So that's one scenario, right? But again, that's one big thing which will happen, right? So the product will get you those orphan files over there, right? So for those, SIDs which are not resolving, for the people who are not available in that particular in your domain, and if still they hold any files inside your file servers, you can understand all this information with an empty folders. This is one big thing, right? Because we would think, why would I have to track the empty folders with it? Because we all know, there are a lot of things, a lot of reasons why we need to track empty folders. And again, the permissions is the play, right? Because still the empty folders has permissions over there, and you need to track, you need to find out that and make sure there are no empty folders on any one of the file servers over there, just to be compliant, just for the compliance per se, right? So that's what the file analysis does, right? So the file auditing gets you the info of what's happening on your servers, and it get the access auditing within file auditing gets you, a simple correlation, tells you who is the most hyperactive guy, what's the most touched file, and all those options. And then comes the file analysis. It gives you a neat report on the storage and the security view on the overview over there. And when coming to the report over here, you can do wonders. You can understand all the how many files available on the servers, the stale files over there, orphan files, understand who has what access to your folder, to files and folders over there, all these options over there, right? So that's what file analysis is all about. The main thing we have seen about file auditing and file analysis right now. So now comes the big picture, I would say, when coming to a data leak prevention software. So all these while, the file auditing just showed you a typical file auditing software, Windows file auditing software, right? The file analysis give you just took the software to the next level, a little bit next level, by giving you some analytics over there, right? But risk analysis is what I would say, the stepping, to the first layer of data leak prevention, right? Because you have to understand what kind of data is available on your servers, because you just can't be monitoring every single thing inside a domain, right? Let's say a folder has some MP3 files over there. Why they have it, that's a different question. But again, you're not going to achieve, anything by tracking the changes happening to that particular folder, or applying rules and making sure, nobody's going to touch those MP3 files over there, or just taking a copy of them. It doesn't. It's just not worth the time. Right? That's the whole point. So understanding the critical information on your servers is the main thing, right? That's what file analysis does over here. I'm sorry, risk analysis does over here. So literally, what it does is, let's take GDPR for example, right? Let's take a simple example. I just want to find out every file in my domain. Let's on my server, on my file server, which has, let's say, the social security number, or let's take a common credit card information over there, right? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create. I know we have actually 50 plus rules available by default inside the tool. The product comes with all these rules over there, right? So pretty much all the common things are available inside the tool already. But again, if you have something else, let's say you have something in a custom, let's say you have a sort of numbers, you have a sort of keywords which you want to find out, you can go ahead. Just go ahead, create a role. What do you want to find out? So you can either go with, regular expression or a keyword set. You can just go ahead, choose whatever you want. So if you want to create a regex, we have regular expression creators online. You can go ahead and do it. And if you want some help, from us, we'll be more than happy to help you. Or if you want to, create a keyword set, you can go ahead and do that, without a problem. And choose the number of occurrences as one, because our intention right now is to find the critical facts, right? So I just created a rule, right? So the rule is done, right? So now what I have to do is I'll have to create a policy around that particular rule. So I'm just creating a policy, setting it, Amex card policy, right? So I just created a policy over here, and I brought in that rule over here. So, right, I'm done with that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, now the rule is ready. What needs to be scanned is ready. And I built a policy around it. Now is the schedule, because you don't want to run it on a daily basis, right? Even I wouldn't recommend it, right? Let's say, you can run it like once a week or once a month. Let's say on a Friday evening when everybody is locked up, when there is now, what is it like, pressure happening on your file servers over there, right? So you can just schedule that based on your preference. Maybe once a month or once in 6 months, once in 3 months, in a quarter, once a week, whatever you want. So once you schedule it, what you can take it as, target is, you can have the product go ahead and target your Windows file service, or you can have the product go ahead and target your SQL service tables over there. So we can do the risk analysis on both these options, either Windows file service or SQL servers over there. We can do it in both these options over here, right? So what will happen is when that scan time, when the schedule comes in over there, the product will go ahead, scan your, let's say your sequence or tables or the Windows servers over there, will get you the information. Likewise, it's going to scan through every single information, taking a flat files over there, PDFs, all these options. And if it finds any one of the file over there is holding the Amex card information, that's what our rule is all about, our policy is all about, right? It's going to get you this info. You will get to understand the file's name over there, the location, the origin, the file, the source, the scan time, what policy it violated, how many occurrences are available on that particular instance. And when you just click on it, you will understand and need information over there. Right, so you can just understand the location of the file, the file's name over there, the rule name, all this info. On top of that, we will give that particular file a risk score as well. Depending on the number of PII available, the number of PII occurrences available, we will be giving a score, a risk score for that particular file as well, which violates the whatever policy you have created, right? So that's what risk analysis is all about, right? Now that you have understood how your data looks like, what are all the files which have critical information available within them, and on top of that, we are providing a risk score over there. And on top of that, while doing this, the product will classify the data as well. That's your next point, right? When coming to data leak prevention, data classification is the most important thing over there, right? So we can do it by two ways over there, right? So the product scans your folders over there, and depending on the number of PIIs available or ePHIs available, the product will tag those files, let's say as internal, critical, and then we just have like some 4 tags by default, right? So let's say one particular file has some 85 or 100 customer information, credit card information, healthcare information over there. That will be taken tagged as critical. Right. So likewise, the product will do it automatically. Will classify the data automatically based on the critical resources available within that particular file. So that's one way. Or the second way is you can just go ahead, just go to your file service over there and right click on your file. Once you have deployed the agent on your servers, what you can do is you can just go ahead, right click on the files over there, and you will get an option for data classification over there. You can select data classification, choose whatever tag files you want, whatever label you want to tag to that particular file, and then you can do some manual classification as well. So number one is the product can automatically classify while it's discovering while it's doing the risk analysis over there, or you can also go ahead and manually classify the data based on your interest, based on your preference. So two options over there, right? So we all know why we need to classify all these options, right? So now that we have understood how your server looks like, now you have understood which files have more information, more critical information over there, and now that you have tagged them based on the amount of PHI or ePHI available over there, now comes the next point, endpoint data leak prevention, right? That's the, I would say, the last big guy within this tool, right? So, you can understand the changes happening, again, the basic things, right? The source-based reports will tell you, whenever, file integrity monitoring report, all the changes happening to that particular file. I'm very sorry. I just did not have any workstation skin trigger, so I might, yeah, perfect, there we go. So you can understand all the changes that is happening on that particular workstation, all the file integrity monitoring reports over there. On top of that, you can understand the files getting copied over there, email auditing report. So the main point is, let's say you have something tagged as critical on your file server, right? So when I use an endpoint, when I take a copy of it and put it on my desktop, that is a breach for you. That might not be breached, but again, that's something which you need to be notified over there, right? The product, the product has an option to drop you, alert notification. The product has an option, as we discussed before, to call script files over there, undo the action to what just happened. So you can just go in and do whatever you want. Let's say, I'm actually using the Outlook web client. So we have integration with Outlook web client and not OWA over at the moment, not the Outlook, web access, just with the client at the moment. So we have a plugin ready, which you can integrate with your Outlook web clients over there. So whenever someone, tries to attach, a document which is tagged as critical or internal, let's say, for example, you have two options. Either you can let them attach it, send it out, as an email, but you can also, you can get an email sent out to the admin stating that this action happened. Or what you can do is you can stop that particular action right at that point in time. You can have a pop-up message, just come on screen for that user stating this file is internal and you cannot attach it on your email. So you can block the people from, taking out critical information on your server. The same applies for USB. Let's say, for example, someone plugs inside, a USB port and tries to copy something that's critical. What it can, the product, what it can get as a response from the tool is, the product can block the USB port on that particular computer, the target computer from where the action is happening, right? They just have to get in touch with you, the IT help desk team again, and then we just use the registry entries to do that. So they will have to get in touch with you again and then unblock the port. So you can just hold them accountable, ask them why did they even try to take out, critical information on a flash drive or on a thumb drive over there. Right. So that's what, that's what with endpoint data leak prevention is all about. So you have all these options. You understand what's happening on your domain. You understand what kind of files are available on the domain. You track every single minute moment that is happening on your domain, file creation, deletion, all those options over there. And then you classify the data that is available on your domain. And on top of that, once you've classified it, you protect the important information, being taken out of the domain, right? So that's what I would say, an entire data leak prevention is all about, right? So that's what pretty much is all about, right? And the last one is cloud protection, right? So we just brought this, recently into a product, this was in the beta version, even like a few months ago. So I might not be having a live data over here. I sincerely apologize to you. So pretty much the point is, I'm just still building this. I'm sorry about it. So pretty much the point is, you can understand about every single thing that is happening. All you have to do is, just deploy a gateway in your domain and just redirect all the web access through that particular gateway. So, and once that is configured, so we can track every single thing. The request being sent to the gateway, the HTTP request over there, secure HTTP request over there, what kind of browser usage you have that is happening. You can configure your applications over there. You can just configure shadow applications, banned cloud applications over there, and it can get all these informations about the request being sent out to them, request being received from them, all these options. So pretty much, if you deploy a gateway, data security plus gateway over there, and it redirects all the traffic through that particular gateway, and then the product can intercept every single thing and will have a neat information for you whenever anything happens over there. So you can understand about the the activities happening on one particular application, happening on a particular user, a banned application, shadow application, all these options over there. So that's what cloud protection is all about, right? And the last one is admin portion. So I'm just not going to talk much about this. So you can just configure HTTPS if you want to. The product runs on HTTP by default. If you want, you can configure HTTPS. So this is where you configure your email settings. You can create technician logins. You have administrator and operator role for that. If you think the information from Data Security Plus is required to be sent out to an SIEM solution. Talking about SIEM, we have a tool that is called as Log 360. That is our SIEM solution, Manage Engines. But again, if you have something else, we can get it done. So you can just either choose syslog or you can just choose Splunk. We just have direct integration with Splunk, when talking about the parsing, the headers, and all the stuff. But again, anything which listens for syslogs, you can do. They can just put in the syslog server information over here, put in just the port number for on which the server just listens for info, and we can just convert a copy of the info, whatever we are collecting, as syslog and point it towards your SIEM server over there, right? So that's pretty much with the tool. So what we can, coming to the licensing point, right? So the base licensing is, if you just want to understand about the file auditing, the first component, what we discussed is file auditing, right? So anything which comes with file auditing is the number of file servers over there. If you buy, let's say you have like 5 file servers in your domain, you can just buy like 5 file server licenses over there. You will get the file auditing. Within file auditing, you will get like in a file access, you will get the, I'm sorry, like access audit, access analysis, you will get all this info, right? And again, the data risk assessment is what we just saw, right? The risk analysis, understanding or just, doing the data discovery, right? So that's what data risk assessment is all about. And that is licensed, in all use, whatever TB of information you have there, you can just go ahead and license them, right? So, and the same applies for file analysis over there. And when endpoints, when DLP, that is that's licensed based on the endpoints which you have there. That comes in pack. So if you have like some 500 liner, workstations, you can just buy, a pack of 500 workstation, and that should just work for you. The license is pretty simple. So, if you just have any questions, if you just want to, go through a one-on-one remote, demo. If you guys have so many questions, what you can do is, that's my email. So what you can do is, you can just drop me a line, with whatever questions you might have, and I'll be more than happy to assist you with that, right? So that's my personal email, and I'm putting the support email as well. So probably go to manageengine.com and support@datasecurityplus.com. So both of them, you can drop an email to any one of these addresses, and we'll be more than happy to assist you, right? So I'm just going to open the floor for questions over here. I'm going to start. I believe I answered all of the questions. I might have left one or two, which I'll do shortly, personally. Before that, I just have, I'm just going to request a favor from you. I have two polls for you guys, right? So I'm going to send them on your screen. I'll be very happy if you guys can just spend like 5 seconds per poll and answer that for me, right? The first one is coming on your screen right now. Okay, thanks a ton for that. I'm just sending the second poll onto your screen right now. Please take another like 10 seconds and please answer. Okay, just like two more seconds. Okay, thanks a ton, guys. Thanks so much for that. So now we'll just keep the floor open for the next like 5 to 10 minutes, and I'll be more than happy to answer the questions for you, right? So I'm just going to be on mute. Please use the Q&A option and drop the questions if you don't mind. Thanks, Don, guys. So I believe I answered all of your questions so far. So if you guys get any questions moving forward, just drop a line to either praveen.m@manageengine.com or to support@datasecurityplus.com, right? Thanks, Don, again. So the recording will be reaching you in about a week's time. And thanks again for taking the time. Have a good day, guys. Meet you in the next webinar. I just got a thing like, to enter my email. So for info, I'm just sharing my screen and I have my email on the notepad. So that's my email, praveen.m@manageengine.com. And I will put the same on the chat option as well right now. So if you guys want anything, let's say, a personalized demo or, whatever questions you might have, if you want to talk about licensing, you want to code, you want to try license, whatever it might be, drop an email to the email, which I just pinged on the chat window, and I'll be more than happy to assist you with that. Right. Thanks, Don, guys. You all have a great day. Stay safe, and I'll meet you on another webinar in the future. Take care, guys.